Black man swept floors for years, bought the company and fired his boss. The hallway lights buzzed low, casting long shadows over the marble floors of Everan Tech. The building was mostly empty now, just how Malcolm liked it. His cart creaked softly as he pushed it toward the north wing. Mop, rags, bucket, silence. "Evening, Reed," a voice called. Malcolm paused. Harold Denton leaned in the doorway of conference room C, arms crossed. "You know," Harold said, smirking, "you're like part of the furniture now. 19 years and still scrubbing floors. That's gotta be some kind of record." Malcolm met his eyes, said nothing, just kept moving. "Don't go polishing yourself too hard." Harold chuckled to the other manager beside him. "You might disappear." The laughter trailed behind him like dust in the air. Malcolm reached the janitor's lounge, opened his locker, and stopped cold. There, tucked neatly inside, sat a small photo. The edges curled. The color faded. It was him, 8 years old, smiling up at the camera beside his father. Behind them, the Everan Tech sign, bright and clean. His father's hand rested on his shoulder, protective, proud. He hadn't seen that photo in decades. He sat on the bench, holding it like it might vanish. Who put this here? And why now? His mind drifted backward. The factory floor had been louder then, metal pounding metal. His father's voice rising over machines. "You watch. One day you'll be here too. But not down here," his father had said, pointing upward. "You'll be up there, making decisions. You've got that brain." Then came the fall, a snapped beam, a broken back, a pink slip 2 weeks later. Malcolm remembered the promise he made at that bedside. "I won't let this place swallow people whole." Now here he was, mopping the very ground his father once walked. He tucked the photo into his wallet. It didn't answer any questions, but it made something clear. Someone remembered. As he returned to the hallway, Angela from accounting passed by. She smiled. "You always work so quiet, Malcolm. Like a ghost." He nodded. "Ghosts remember everything." Angela laughed lightly. "Well, this place forgets plenty." He turned away before she could see his expression. Back to the mop, back to the rhythm. But tonight every stroke felt different, like each sweep carved something open. The building hadn't changed, but Malcolm had, and someone wanted him to remember. The office air felt heavier than usual. Even beneath the hum of overhead lights and clatter of keyboards, Malcolm could feel it. Tension twisting through the walls like wires pulled too tight. He pushed his cart slowly past the break room. Inside, Angela paced by the fridge, arms crossed, tight across her chest. "Malcolm," she said, stopping him with a look. "Harold's at it again." He set the mop aside. "What now?" She rubbed her temple. "Malik, the kid in engineering, fired this morning. For something Derek did." "Derek?" Malcolm asked. Angela nodded. "Left the pressure valves open on Unit 12, but they blamed Malik. Harold didn't even look into it." Malcolm leaned against the doorframe. Quiet. Angela's voice dropped, lower. "You think I'm imagining this? Harold only protects people who look like him. The rest of us? Disposable." Malcolm didn't respond. He just listened. Later that night, Malcolm saw Malik walking toward the front doors with a box in his hands, shoulders stiff, eyes red. He didn't say a word as he passed. Harold stood at the end of the hall, watching. As Malik disappeared into the elevator, Harold turned to Malcolm. "Some people just don't belong above the floor, you know?" Malcolm's hand tightened on the mop. His face stayed still. "Long as you know your place, Reed, you'll be fine." Harold clapped his shoulder once, then left. Malcolm stood alone in the corridor. That night, in the storage closet, he opened his worn black notebook. First page. He wrote, "Malik Turner, you fired, wrongfully blamed, Harold confirmed bias." Under it, a date. He flipped to a fresh page. Wrote Angela's name. Listed what she told him. Bullet points. Small. Precise. This would not be forgotten. Near midnight, while emptying bins on the 3rd floor, something caught his eye in a trash can beside the CEO's temporary office. A single business card, half crumpled. Everan Holdings, Acquisitions Division. Malcolm stared at it. Something about the name stirred a memory. He smoothed the card flat, pocketed it. Back in the lounge, Angela was sipping coffee from a chipped mug. "I saw what happened," she said softly. Malcolm nodded. "Malik deserved better." Angela leaned forward. "You're not just writing names, you're building something, aren't you?" He said nothing. She grinned. "They'll never see you coming, Malcolm." He closed the notebook slowly. That's the idea. The mop still waited outside the door. But tonight it wasn't just a tool. It was a disguise. Behind the quiet steps and gentle sweeps, something had shifted. The man pushing the cart wasn't invisible anymore. He was watching, and he was remembering everything. The night wrapped the city in silence as Malcolm stepped into his second world. His real office sat behind a rusted metal door in a quiet apartment complex, miles from Everan Tech. Inside, the space was small, no more than a desk, 2 monitors, and a wall of sticky notes. Malcolm powered on the computer. Blue light glowed on his face, revealing something the janitor's uniform never showed. Focus, calculation, control. He logged into 3 platforms, checked his holdings, stock prices, bank accounts. Every number reflected a decision made long ago. Every line of code, every digital trail carefully hidden. He opened a spreadsheet labeled Everan Liabilities. Rows and rows of figures, employee, payouts, misallocated funds, overdue contracts, they were bleeding money. He grabbed the phone, scrolled to Knox. The line clicked. "Evening, Malcolm," the voice said. "It's time," Malcolm replied. A quiet breath. "You sure?" Malcolm stared at a graph showing Everan Tech's declining valuation. "They're falling, Knox, just like you said." Knox didn't hesitate. "Then you know what comes next." "I do." "You've got the capital?" "Through the shell company, all clean already. And the lawyers?" "In place, nobody sees my name." "Not until it's done." Knox's voice softened. "You've come far from that boy sweeping hallways." Malcolm leaned back in the chair. "I never left the hallways, sir. I just stopped seeing them as walls." A chuckle came through the line. "Good, remember this? The floor you cleaned will one day reflect your crown." Malcolm smiled. "I'll remember." After the call ended, he opened another folder. Everan Holdings. Inside, letters of intent, silent partners, draft offers. All the pieces were ready. Malcolm reached into the desk drawer, pulled out an old photo, him as a boy standing with his father in front of Everan Tech's loading dock. His father's hand rested on his shoulder. Grease-stained overalls, proud eyes. "Almost there," Malcolm whispered. He placed the photo by the monitor, then typed the final line into the draft letter. Everan Holdings formally proposes acquisition of Everan Tech, pending board review. He hit save. Tomorrow the floor would shine beneath the same man they once overlooked, but they wouldn't know who waxed it clean. The mop glided across the floor like muscle memory. Malcolm's hands moved with quiet precision, but his mind raced. By day, he wore pressed shirts and spoke in boardrooms under the name R. Holden, founder of Reed Holdings. By night, the uniform returned, and no one looked twice, except Harold. Always Harold. "You missed a spot," Harold barked, kicking. "A gum wrapper closer." Malcolm nodded, wiped it up, and moved on. In the glass conference room, Harold paced. His voice carried. "Why does R&D keep overspending? Malik's gone and we're still in the red." He slammed the door. Angela followed, her head down. Malcolm heard her sniff as she passed. Later in the break room, she sat alone, shoulders slumped, eyes red. "I trained that whole department," she whispered. "Then they cut me to part-time, no warning. Said budgets were tight." He placed a napkin beside her. Their eyes met. "Don't quit yet," Malcolm said softly. She blinked. "What?" He just smiled. "You're more valuable than they know." Angela looked at him differently then. Something passed the uniform. At noon the next day, R. Holden sat 3 floors up, watching chaos unfold. He wore black. Today, sleek, confident. No one recognized the janitor from the night before. He scrolled through messages on his private tablet. The investor had done exactly as Malcolm asked. pulled their $2.3 million stake. Everan Tech's numbers tanked by lunch. Outside Harold's office, employees whispered, "Funding pulled?" "They're spiraling," Harold stormed out, paper clutched in his fist. He passed Malcolm, mop in hand, without a glance. In the meeting room, Harold dropped the report with a smack. "Listen up, we're under attack." People froze. "A ghost company is buying us out. Some nobody, Reed Holdings. Never heard of. But they're real. They have lawyers. They have leverage." He glared around the room. "This is war." Nobody spoke. From his hallway corner, Malcolm watched. Mop still dripping. He turned, walked toward the exit. No smile, no rush. The hallway lights flickered above him. One bulb buzzed quietly, like it knew something no one else. "Did Angela pass by? You hear about the buyout?" she whispered. Malcolm nodded once. "Who's Reed Holdings?" she asked. He paused, then kept walking. "Someone with clean hands," he said. "And a long memory." The boardroom doors opened with a soft hiss. Malcolm walked in, tailored suit sharp, shoes silent on the tile. Heads turned, faces twisted in confusion. Only one face twisted in rage. Harold's. "What the hell is this?" Harold barked, standing. Malcolm paused near the head of the table. "I'm Malcolm Reed, CEO of Reed Holdings." Harold laughed. "That's rich. You're a janitor." "No, I was a janitor," Malcolm said, steady. "Now I'm your employer." Whispers sparked like static. Across the room, the chairman cleared his throat. "Mr. Reed's firm finalized controlling interest as of this morning. It's legitimate." Harold's face drained. "No, this is a trick. He's playing dress-up." "It's not a trick," the chairman replied. "And you're dismissed, Harold, effective immediately." "You can't," Harold snapped. "I can," Malcolm interrupted. "And I just did." Harold lunged forward. "You don't belong here." Malcolm reached down and, from beside his chair, lifted a familiar object, a worn mop. He placed it gently in the center of the table. The boardroom went silent. "This built me," he said. Everyone stared. Harold's mouth hung open. "This mop saw your tantrums, heard your slurs. It listened when no one else did." Angela, standing near the door, smiled softly. "You always thought I was invisible," Malcolm continued. "But I was watching, learning, building." Harold's voice cracked. "You were beneath me." "Not anymore," Malcolm said. "Now I clean house." Security entered quietly, ready. Harold's face twisted. "This place will fall without me." "No," Malcolm said. "Now it has a foundation." He turned to the board. "We don't need louder voices. We need better ones." Angela stepped inside, holding a file. Malcolm nodded toward her. "Let's begin." Malcolm stepped into the hallway. Silence followed. The same corridor he'd mopped for 19 years now echoed differently. Eyes glanced up from screens. Faces that once ignored him now stretched into awkward smiles. "Good morning, sir," someone said. He nodded. "Morning." No celebration, no speech. He didn't need one. Angela walked beside him, holding a clipboard. "You sure about this promotion?" "You earned it," he said. She blinked back surprise. "They won't like it." "They didn't like you before," he said, stopping at the glass doors. "You've got nothing to lose." She chuckled, but it faded quickly. "What about Malik?" "Already handled," Malcolm said. 2 floors down, Malik shook hands with HR. "You're really bringing me back?" Malcolm's voice came through the open door. "Should never have let you go." Malik turned, stunned. I see more than floors, Malik." In the break room, whispers stirred. "Wait, that's him? The janitor? No way. He owns us now?" "Harold's gone, fired, on the spot." Some cheered, others stared. Outside, Harold leaned against his car, phone to ear. "I built this place," he snarled. "That man, he swept floors." A voice on the other end sighed. "No, one's listening, Harold." He hung up, staring at the building he once ruled. Traitors. Inside, Malcolm paused in the lobby. His reflection stared back from the glass. "I remember this floor," he murmured. His mind drifted. A younger version of him, just 17, sweeping slowly, his father's hand on his shoulder. "Son, they'll Forget your name, they'll forget your face, his father had said. But don't let them forget your work. Malcolm had asked him once what real power looked like. His father replied, "It's quiet. Real power don't shout. It shows up, does its job, and leaves no dust behind." Malcolm returned to the present. Angela appeared at his side. "You okay?" "I'm where I'm supposed to be." A tech walked past, eyes wide. "Mr. Reed, the press is waiting. Let them wait." He walked back toward the elevator, passing a framed mission statement. He stopped. "It's time to rewrite that," he said. Angela raised a brow. "What's the new motto?" He stepped inside the elevator. "No floor is beneath you if it builds. Your future." The envelope was yellowed, edges curled. It sat on Malcolm's desk like it had always belonged there. Angela knocked softly. This came through legal channels. Said it was found in a storage box from the old HR archive. "Thanks," he said, his voice quiet. She hesitated. "You want me to?" "No, I got it." She left without another word. Malcolm ran his fingers across the handwriting. It was shaky, familiar, postmarked. 16 years ago, he whispered. He opened it slowly. A single sheet folded once with careful pressed lines. "Son, if you're reading this, you stayed. I didn't want that for you. I wanted you free. But maybe you saw something I couldn't. Maybe you believed in change. If they tried to take your name, your pride, your fire, remember this. Build something they can't take from you. And when they ask how you did it, just smile, because they were never looking. I love you. I'm proud of you, always." Dad Malcolm leaned back in his chair, letter in hand. Tears welled. They didn't fall fast, just slow and quiet, like rain on glass. He looked toward the old photo. Him and his father, outside Everan Tech in the summer sun, 25 years gone. He stood, framed the letter, placed it beside the photo. That evening the sky was soft gray. The cemetery was still. Malcolm walked the narrow path, shoes crunching on gravel. He stopped at the headstone. "Hey, Pop," his voice cracked. He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out his old badge, scratched, faded, but whole. "I kept my promise. I didn't leave broken." He knelt, laying the badge gently at the base of the stone. "I built something they can't take." Wind moved through the trees. Malcolm closed his eyes. For the first time in years, the silence didn't weigh him down. It held him. The lobby gleamed in the morning light. Students from a local college gathered for a tour. Malik stood at the front, confident and composed. "This is where I started," he said, gesturing around. "And this company gave me a second chance." Angela, now dressed in a navy power suit, nodded beside him. "Not just a second chance. This place became ours." The students clapped. Malcolm watched from the second-floor balcony, unseen. The article had been short, buried on page 8. Local janitor turns CEO, leads turnaround at Everan Tech. No quotes, no interviews, just facts and a grainy photo. From 20 years ago, he was fine with that. "Mr. Reed?" A young intern called. He turned. "Yes?" "We just finished the new display. Would you like to take a look?" He followed the intern down the stairs. Near the entrance, sunlight hit the glass case just right. Inside it stood an old mop. His mop, polished, upright, preserved like history. A small plaque read, "Respect all work. Own your story." Malcolm Reed beside it, the main plaque was mounted on the wall. "Leadership built from the ground up, founded by Malcolm Reed." Angela joined him. "You didn't want your name in lights, but we thought this felt right." He smiled. "It does," she asked. "You ever think about retiring?" "Someday," he said. "But not today." The tour group passed by, pausing at the mop. One student whispered, "Wait, is that real?" Malcolm chuckled, under his breath. He walked to his office, the sound of busy footsteps echoing behind him. Not many knew the full story, but the floor remembered, and now, so would they.